Let me tell you something about my boy Harold. Harold thinks he's an outdoorsman. He's got the flannel shirt, the big boots, the whole 9 yards. Looks like he wrestles bears for a living. But let me be clear, the closest Harold gets to the wild is watching a nature documentary with a bag of chips. So when he called me up, talking about a hunting trip, I was like, hunting what, Harold? The remote control you lost in the couch cushions? But he was serious. He said we needed to reconnect with our primal instincts. I'm from North Philly. My primal instinct is to avoid trouble, not look for it in a forest full of things that can bite you. But he's my friend, so I said yes. What could go wrong? We got out there and the air was crisp. I'm talking so fresh, it felt like my lungs were getting a spa day. Harold was all geared up, looking like a G.I. Joe that got lost on the way to the toy store. He had gadgets for everything. A compass that spun like a DJ's turntable, a thermos the size of a fire hydrant, and binoculars that could probably see into next Tuesday. I, on the other hand, had a backpack full of snacks and a healthy dose of skepticism. Harold was trying to teach me how to track a deer. He's pointing at broken twigs and telling me, "See, Jesse? A 12-point buck passed through here about 10 minutes ago." I'm looking at him like, man, that was probably a squirrel with a limp. Let's find the sandwiches. Our plan was simple. Spend the day being manly, maybe see a deer from a safe distance, and be back in time for pizza. Harold was taking it way too seriously, though. He was whispering everything. "Jesse, we must be one with the forest," he'd hiss, crawling on his belly through some leaves. I'm standing there like, dude, you're whispering so loud the birds in the next state can hear you. Just walk normal. He was trying to do these tactical rolls and low crawls he saw in a movie once. He looked less like a hunter and more like a caterpillar having a seizure. I knew right then this was going to be a long, long day. I should have stayed home. I could be on my couch right now, safe and sound. The whole time I'm just following him, shaking my head. It was supposed to be a bonding experience, but it felt more like I was babysitting a grown man having an identity crisis. He kept saying things like, "Feel the earth beneath your feet, Jesse." I'm like, "I feel it, Harold. It's called dirt. It's been there the whole time." The man was a walking, talking cliché of every hunting movie ever made. He even tried to make a bird call, but it sounded like a car alarm going off. Every animal within a 5-mile radius probably packed its bags and moved to Canada. I was just there for the friendship, but my friendship was being tested. Severely. So there's Harold, in full-on Rambo mode, trying to navigate this little hill. It wasn't even a mountain. It was more like a speed bump with trees on it. He's telling me, "Jesse, you gotta watch your footing. The wilderness is unforgiving." He says this while taking a big, dramatic step onto a loose rock. Now what happens when a big man puts all his weight on a wobbly rock? That's right. The rock said, "Nah, I'm good," and decided to take a vacation. Harold's foot went one way, his body went the other, and he let out a scream that scared the soul right out of my body. The man tumbled. And I don't mean a little trip. He rolled down that hill like a bowling ball dropped from a helicopter. He lands at the bottom in a heap, looking like a pile of laundry somebody forgot to fold. I scramble down there and he's groaning. "Jesse, my leg. I think it's broken." I look down, and his ankle is pointing in a direction it was never designed to point. It looked like his foot was trying to shake hands with his knee. My heart dropped. We were miles from the car, the sun was starting to set, and my friend was busted. All that talk about being a primal man, and he got taken out by a pebble. The irony was so thick you could cut it with one of his useless survival knives. This was bad. Real bad. Now listen, I might be small, but I was a Marine. We don't leave anyone behind. So I looked at Harold, who's about twice my size, and said, "All right, big fella, get on my back." He looked at me like I had 3 heads. "Jesse, you can't carry me," I said, "watch me." Getting him on my back was a whole comedy special by itself. It was like trying to wrestle an octopus into a shopping bag. We grunted, we slipped, we almost fell over 3 times. But finally I got him up there, his arms wrapped around my neck, his one good leg dangling uselessly. I felt like a turtle carrying a house that complained a lot. So there I am, carrying this grown man through the woods. Every step was a struggle. My knees were screaming, my back was on fire, and Harold was not a quiet passenger. He was giving me directions like a backseat driver. "Jesse, a little to the left. Watch out for that root." I'm like, man, if you say one more word, I'm gonna leave you here for the squirrels. But I kept going. That's what friends do. even when your friend gets you into a ridiculous situation because he wanted to play make-believe in the forest. I was just focused on moving forward, one painful, Harold-filled step at a time. The things we do for friendship, I swear. As if carrying a human backpack wasn't enough, the sun decided to clock out for the day. And let me tell you a little secret about me. Jesse is scared of the dark. I'm not talking a little nervous. I'm talking full-on, see a therapist about it scared. In the Marines, they had night vision. In the woods, you've got nothing. Every snap of a twig sounded like a monster getting ready for dinner. Every hoot of an owl was a ghost telling me my time was up. I was trying to act tough for Harold, but inside I was a wreck. I was sweating, and it wasn't just from carrying him. My fear was having its own little party on my forehead. We had 2 flashlights. 2! You'd think that would be enough, but this trip was cursed. First, Harold's fancy military-grade flashlight started flickering like it was in a disco. Then, poof, it died. Harold said, "Don't worry, it's solar-powered." I'm like, "Harold, it's pitch black. What are you gonna do, hold it up to the moon?" Then, my cheap one from the gas station decided to follow its friend into the great beyond. The light sputtered, coughed, and went out. We were plunged into absolute, terrifying darkness. I couldn't even see my own hands. I'm standing there, holding Harold, in the middle of nowhere with no light. I was about to have a full-blown panic attack. Just when I was about to lose my mind, I saw it. A light, a soft, warm glow bobbing through the trees. At first, I thought I was hallucinating. Maybe it was an angel coming to take me away from this nightmare. The light got closer, and I could see a person holding it. It was a woman. She had long, flowing hair with flowers in it, and she was wearing a tie-dye dress. She looked like she had just walked off the stage at Woodstock. She floated towards us, holding an old-fashioned lantern, and said in a calm, dreamy voice, "Whoa, heavy vibes out here, man. You guys lost?" I was so relieved I could have cried. Her name was Gwendolyn. She told us she lived nearby in a self-sustaining yurt community. A yurt! I didn't even know what a yurt was. She said she was just out for her nightly moonwalk. She looked at Harold on my back, then at me, and just smiled. "Looks like you're carrying a heavy burden, brother," she said. I'm like, "You have no idea." She wasn't spooked or weirded out at all. She just had this peaceful, calming energy. And her lantern was the most beautiful thing I had ever seen. In that moment of pure terror, this strange, beautiful hippie woman was our savior. Our weird, patchouli-scented savior. Gwendolyn led us back to her camp. It was a circle of yurts lit by fairy lights and smelling strongly of incense and granola. She helped me get Harold off my back and onto a pile of colorful cushions. She then did some kind of energy healing on his ankle, waving her hands over it and humming. Harold looked confused, but he was in too much pain to argue. While she was doing that, she started talking to me. She told me about the stars, about the energy of the crystals she wore, about how she believed love was the universal frequency. And I'm telling you, I was hooked. It was like her voice was a magic spell. I've never fallen in love that fast in my life. It was instant. Ridiculous. One minute I'm terrified in the dark, the next I'm staring at this woman like she's a whole buffet and I haven't eaten in a week. She offered me some herbal tea, and I drank it. It tasted like dirt and flowers, but I told her it was the best thing I'd ever had. We talked for hours, or maybe it was minutes. Time didn't seem to exist in Gwendolyn's yurt. She laughed at my jokes, and I found myself telling her my deepest fears, including my fear of the dark. She just smiled and said, "The dark is just a shadow, Jesse. You just need to find your own light." I was gone, completely and utterly gone. The next morning, Gwendolyn's friends helped carry Harold out to the main road. As they were getting ready to leave, I made a decision. A crazy, impulsive, life-altering decision. I walked over to Harold, who was now strapped to a makeshift stretcher, and said, "Harold, my man, I'm staying." He looked at me like I had just announced I was becoming a professional mime. Staying where? With the flower lady? I just nodded, a big goofy grin on my face. I think I found my light, man. Harold just shook his head and groaned, "Just send my wife a postcard." And that was it. I watched my friend get carried away, and I turned back to Gwendolyn. So yeah, I never left. Gwendolyn and I got married a month later in a ceremony officiated by a guy named Starchild. We ended up having 6 kids. We named them Rainbow, River, Moonbeam, Forest, Stardust, and Kevin. Okay, I gotta name one of them. Harold? He recovered. He sends me a Christmas card every year with a picture of him sitting safely on his couch. He says he's sworn off the wilderness for good. And me? I'm happier than I've ever been. I found love, a family, and a lifetime supply of herbal tea. All because my buddy Harold tripped over a rock. Life is weird, man. Real weird.